All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Caitlin Mills, and I am delighted to be here with you today via Zoom. I do most of our community education and community speaking on the Avenues program, and I'm just happy to be here. I love this program. I love talking about it and doing education on aging at home, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I always like to start out with a little bit of a history of who we are. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Brio Living Services. Does anyone want to raise a hand whose camera's on? Does anyone know Brio Living Services? Have you heard of us before? Louise says, yes, I have. Wonderful. Um, if you have never heard of Brio Living Services, I'm going to tell you why. Brio Living Services is actually Porter Hills. Porter Hills went through an affiliation back in 2018. We affiliated with another senior living community on the east side of the state, and together we became one organization. We received a new name, or we took a new name, which is Brio Living Services, but most people still know us as Porter Hills. We are one and the same. In fact, oftentimes I forget and I answer the phone and say, hello, this is Caitlin Mills from Porter Hills because it rhymes. So, Porter Hills, we are best known for our senior living communities. Maybe you've driven past the Porter Hills Village campus, or you've had a friend or a parent who's actually lived at Porter Hills. Avenues is a part of our organization, but it's a very different part of our organization. We are actually talking today about aging at home, or a buzzword right now is aging in place. So we're going to start there today. We're going to talk a little bit about home. Why is it that there are so many folks here in West Michigan who are interested in the ability to age at home? Maybe some of you are interested in aging in place. Does anyone want to raise a hand? Are you interested or curious about the option to stay home? Is that why anyone joined us today? Yes, Susan, that's why you joined us today. Absolutely. And I'm sure there are more of you whose cameras are not on right now. You're curious about the ability to stay home. I am actually a social worker by background. I have my master's in social work, and I started with Porter Hills as our community social worker. And one of the things that I love to ask people is, where do you envision yourself aging? What do you want that to look like? What do you want that to feel like? And I can't tell you the amount of times that people have sat in front of me and have said, you know, your senior living communities are great. They're really pretty, but I really love where I live. I love my community and my neighbors and my house. And I had someone recently say, listen, our house is still the place where we host all of our holidays as a family. My kids and my grandkids, they come here for Christmas and Easter and New Year's, all of that. Our house holds those memories. And we love the idea of staying here through end of life if we can. And that's something that we're hearing more and more as people who work in the senior living industry. I'm hearing this quite frequently. People saying, I know that my parents had a great experience in senior living, or maybe your parents did live in senior living and didn't have a great experience. But so many people are saying, I want to age differently than my parents aged. I want to stay home. I want to stay immersed out in the community if I can. So we're really seeing a shift and change in the senior living industry and in the senior living market because more people are trying to pursue this. This is interesting. There's a lot of nuance to aging in place or to aging at home. All of the questions that, of course, I, as a social worker, like to ask people. For example, if you're going to stay home, who's going to help you do that successfully? Who is going to care for you? Who is going to help one day with the maintenance of your home? Who is going to drive you places if you can't drive anymore? The question of who will walk alongside of you as you're aging to ensure that you can actually stay home successfully, right? That's a question that anyone who wants to stay home has to at some point grapple with. My professional opinion is it's a question you should be asking earlier rather than later. Not waiting until you need care to ask it, but thinking about it right now when you're in your 60s, 70s, and have the ability and capacity to make some of those decisions and to really decide, how will I make this plan a reality? How will I be successful in staying home? And we're going to talk about that today because that's what the Avenues program really is designed to do. But the nuance of this, the difficulty with this is really, who is going to help me with all of these things? That piece right there, the nuance of aging at home, especially for folks who don't put a plan in place for aging at home, that is why so many people, what I'm seeing here in West Michigan, and I think nationally, it's why so many people are still ending up here, nursing home. I don't think anyone ever dreams of moving to a nursing home setting. I have memories actually, both of my great grandmas were in nursing home settings. And I remember as a little kid going to visit them, my parents would take me. And I remember as a kid what it felt like and looked like. And while nursing homes have changed a lot with time, I still don't think that anyone is dreaming about moving to a nursing home setting. And yet, what we know, or what research shows, there was an AARP study that came out last year, actually, 2025. And that study said that 7 out of 10 older adults in the United States still at some point in their aging journey end up moving to a nursing home. Why is that? In 2026, 7 out of 10 people are moving here. Well, I think for a few different reasons. Maybe you have some ideas about this. I'm going to tell you what I see in today's market. What I'm seeing is that so many folks, when they talk about aging or when they're thinking about aging, or when I'm sitting down with people and saying, okay, what's your plan for aging? So many of the responses that I get from folks is this. People will say to me, well, I just don't have to plan for care because I'm never going to need care. I'm never going to need anything. I was a retired nurse. I've got this. If anything pops up, I'll be able to do it independently. Right? So interesting. So people, I think, genuinely either have a hard time thinking about the fact that you will need care or genuinely don't believe, I won't need care. I'm not going to age maybe, but I won't need aging related care. So I hear that a lot from people. The other thing I hear a lot of times from people, this is very interesting, when I ask them, okay, what's your plan for aging? Or maybe what's your plan for aging at home? I can't tell you the amount of people who say to me, I don't need a plan because I have kids. I've got kids. I've got an adult daughter. I've got a son. I've got grandkids. They're all really competent. They're very smart. I don't need a plan. I don't need a community. I don't need anything because my kids are going to take care of me. This one is really interesting. It's interesting to me because a lot of times these are the folks that are still ending up on our doorstep at Porter Hills Village. We get calls from adult daughters who say to us, I promised mom that I would never move her to a nursing home. We promised we'd keep her in her house. We thought we could do it. We don't have the time, the expertise. We don't have the resources to be able to do this well and to meet mom's needs anymore. That's really hard. We get this a lot. I see it a lot. We see it in our community. So thinking to yourself, my kids are going to take care of me. There's a lot of weight to that. If you fall into that category, let's talk about that sometime because there's a lot of nuance that comes with that and a lot of conversations that have to happen with your kids ahead of time to figure out, does my family have the capacity for that? What is that going to look like? So there's a lot of nuance to aging, right? People want to stay home, but it's hard to stay home. Even when people are not staying home and ending up in facility settings for their care, there's another really interesting piece of aging, and that's paying for your care. Does anyone want to go off mute and take a guess at how much 1 year of nursing home care is right now in West Michigan? Does anyone know? 1 year of nursing home care for one person. Any guesses today? No guesses. Okay, that's okay. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to show you actually if you're curious. So when we're talking about the planful side of aging, it's important to know, what is it going to cost me to age? Or in the words of my mom, what's it going to set me back? I'm going to show you. So these prices up here on my screen today, these are based on our Porter Hills prices. We're pretty closely in line with a lot of the big senior living communities here in West Michigan. Right now at Porter Hills, for 1 year of nursing home care, it's about $150,000 for 1 year for one person. Our assisted living and memory care right now ranges. It's anywhere from 100 to 120,000 for one person for 1 year of care in a studio-sized apartment. If you're curious, coming in at the most expensive is actually private care in the home. It's a huge misconception. A lot of people think, well, it's cheapest if I stay home and I just find a private caregiver or I find someone who can take care of me. I'll just pay them out of pocket. It's actually typically the most expensive route to take. Private caregivers right now in West Michigan are charging between $30 and $35 an hour for care. That adds up really fast. If you're of age to the point that you need care and assistance every day, or you need a caregiver with you 24/7, that's about $700 a day for care. That's the most expensive route that people can typically take. And there's some nuance with that. Right now in West Michigan, especially, it's hard to find care. There are a lot of people that are aging, and companies can't always staff or have the availability to provide caregivers when you need it or in the time frame that you're needing it. So there's nuance to that piece as well. But to summarize this slide and to maybe simplify it, aging is really expensive. It's expensive to get old. It's expensive to need care and assistance. In fact, when I look at these numbers, I always think to myself, it's just not fair. It's not fair that there isn't something out there that can help pay for care. Now, we're going to talk about that today because a piece of the Avenues program does solve some of that or a part of that. But aging is expensive. So, we're going to talk next, or we're going to dive now into what is the Avenues program? How is it an interesting solution to aging, especially if I'm interested in aging in place in my home setting? Well, for those of you who joined late, I'll give another little background on the Avenues program. Porter Hills opened Avenues back in 2011. We started hearing about programs like Avenues popping up all over the nation. And we were really, really curious because at the time, Porter Hills was only providing senior living, right? We weren't doing anything out in the community to allow people to stay home. But we heard about these programs popping up, and we thought as an organization, you know what? Why can't we offer all options? Why can't we offer senior living, but why can't we also offer a program or a team of experts that can also allow people to stay home if that's their preference? And so we decided to do just that. We opened Avenues in 2011. We were the 13th program like it to open in the nation. So we were on the cutting edge of this type of licensed program. The formal word for the Avenues program is a continuing care at home program. We're licensed by the state of Michigan, we're overseen by the state, but we were the 13th program like it to open in the nation. We were actually the first program in Michigan to open, and we are still the only program like it here in West Michigan. This shocks me actually. I'm surprised that no other senior living communities are doing this, but they're not. We are still the only one. So, what is this Avenues program? How does it work? Well, let's talk about the different components. There are three main components to the Avenues program. The first component when it comes to Avenues is what I like to call asset protection. When you join the Avenues program, as you are aging in place at home or as you are aging in general, the cost of your future care is actually included in your Avenues membership. When you join this program, all of your future care is covered in your Avenues membership. It's a way for you to be planning financially for the future. It's in many ways a way that you are going to prepay for your future care, but you're going to pay for it at a capped cost and in today's dollars. This coverage, this financial side or this asset protection side of Avenues, this is financial coverage for any type of care for our members. For most of our members, they're joining this program because they want to stay in their home setting. And so, of course, then this means that Avenues is paying for the care that is coming into your home. But there's a lot of flexibility and freedom in the Avenues program. Let's say that what you want changes years later into your membership, and you decide, you know what, I actually do want to move to a senior living community, or I do want to be in a care based setting for my care one day. That's okay. This Avenues membership is really flexible. It's going to follow you no matter where you go, and the Avenues membership is going to pay for your care wherever you go. What do I mean by that? Well, when we opened this program, you know, we assumed most people will want to stay in their homes. And in fact, that's exactly what has happened. Since we opened our doors, 99% of our Avenues members have actually stayed home. They've aged in place through end of life. We're really proud of that. That's a pretty great success rate, in my opinion, but it's also exactly what this program is designed to do. This past summer, we had our first Avenues member who made a decision to actually move to a facility based setting for his care. He moved to skilled nursing, a skilled nursing of his choosing. And his bill each month in skilled nursing was actually $14,000. His bill every month in his skilled nursing setting was coming right to us, right to Avenues. We were paying for his skilled nursing bill and still are as a part of his Avenues membership. And I'm going to go a little bit more in depth later about that and what that looks like in real life. But this really is a way for you to be planning financially for your future. You're going to see, or in fact, I'll add, some people will ask us, is this Avenues program, is it similar to something like long-term care insurance? My answer is no, we're not an insurance company and we're not long-term care insurance, but the coverage side of Avenues is kind of similar. The idea really is that yes, when you're joining Avenues, no matter what happens in the future, how much care you need and where you need your care, Avenues is covering the cost of that care. So this piece of Avenues, of course, is one of the pieces that people are sometimes attracted to, is to be able to put a financial plan in place for their future. Now, as we go on, we're going to talk about these next two slides. This is where the Avenues program really starts to shine. These next two slides, I would say, are really what people are attracted to when they are considering joining the Avenues program. Well, what are those things? Avenues, first and foremost, is an aging at home program. We are designed, or it is designed, to keep you in your home through end of life, if that's your preference. We are essentially bringing the senior living community, but bringing it to you at home. And part of that, or part of the feel of that, is when we're coming into your home setting, you really are in the driver's seat of your aging. Right? We're not coming in and changing a lot about your life. You still get to decide where you're aging, how you're aging, what your day to day looks like. We are fitting into your life and we are walking alongside of you as you're aging, and we're managing all of the different components and providing care for you as you're aging in place. We're a licensed continuing care at home program, and we service the greater Grand Rapids area. So all of our members have an address in Greater Grand Rapids or in the Greater Grand Rapids area. Although I will say a lot of our members are young and active and are not always in the state of Michigan. What do I mean by that? Well, we've got a lot of people who are snowbirds who spend 6-7 months in Florida or in California, or aren't always in Grand Rapids. That's okay. You don't have to be here. Like I said, Avenues fits into your life. When it comes time and our members are aging to the point that they need care and assistance, for most of them, their plan is, okay, I'm going to be back in Grand Rapids for that. And then the Avenues program is going to be taking care of me at my home in the Grand Rapids area. 99% of our members have stayed home through end of life. Again, we're really proud of this. It takes a lot of work. And I will say, I can't take credit for any of this. This is all credited to our Avenues clinical team. I'm going to talk about them next. They are the experts in aging in place. They're the experts in aging in general, but their entire job, their entire focus is helping you stay home. is walking alongside of you, making sure that you have everything that you need as you're aging. I love this picture on the screen. This is actually one of our Avenues members, Bobby, and her member navigator, who's Jessica. This was a meeting that they were having at Bobby's house, but everything that we're doing with our Avenues members is actually in your home setting. We are a fully mobile program. So when you're meeting with our team, we are catering everything to your lifestyle. We are coming to you for all of that because this is an aging at home program. So let's break that down a little bit further. What does that actually look like in real life? What does this all mean? Right? It's one thing to say, yeah, I'm an aging at home program, but what are we actually doing with our members, or how are we actually so successful in keeping people in their home settings? Well, when you join the Avenues program, you are assigned to what's called a member navigator. A more common term that you might be familiar with is maybe a care manager or a nurse navigator, similar in concept. Our member navigators have all different backgrounds. Some are nurses, some are LPNs, some have more of a health and wellness background, some are social workers. The entire role of the member navigator is to walk alongside of you as you're aging. They are your person. What do I mean by that? Well, this person or this role really was designed to alleviate your family or your friends or your kids from having to be your caregivers, from having to be your case managers, from having to be your drivers when it comes to medical things in the future. You are building a long-term relationship with your member navigator. They are your go-to person. They, of course, are going to medical things with you. They are managing care for you one day. They're going to clinical things. But again, they're your advocate. They really are your person. I'm going to give an example of this. We had a lady who joined our Avenues program. She joined actually when she was 68 years old. She's so wonderful. She's independent and she's sassy and smart, and she loves to travel. And she lives in a cute ranch house over kind of by Breton Village. And when she and I were working together, she said to me, you know, I've got two really awesome kids. They're fabulous. They're competent. They're lovely. I know that they would do anything that I needed as I'm aging, but I'm not going to ask them to do that for me. And here's why. She explained to me that she cared for her husband at end of life, and she knew what it took, or she knew the significant burden that comes in caring for someone full time, especially at end of life. And having gone through that with her spouse, he had cancer actually. She said to me, I cannot ask my kids to do that. I love them enough to say, I want something else in place. I want my own team, my own plan, so that my kids can stay my kids and they don't have to do all of these aging related things or have these aging related conversations with me. So she joined the Avenues program. And when she joined, she said to me, okay, but don't call me, I'll call you. I'm, in my 60s, I don't really need anything today. And I said, that's okay. This is a long-term plan for most of our members. Our members are joining while they're still healthy and independent. You might not need something for the first few years, but if you do, we're here for you. Coincidentally enough, this gal, her name's Maureen, she actually called her member navigator a year into her membership because she had a freak incident. She actually got up in the night to use the restroom and tripped on something in her bedroom and broke her femur, which is just lovely and fun. And on her way, she was in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. Who did she call? But she called Avenues. She called her member navigator, who answered the phone. Our navigators or our member navigator team is on call 24/7. And so she called in, and it was actually her navigator on call. And she said, hey, I'm so sorry this is happening. Do you want me to meet you at the hospital? What can I do to support you right now? And this lady said, I've never been hospitalized. I'm kind of freaked out. I really don't want to call my kids and have them come sit with me. I would really like for someone to be here with me. And so her navigator did. Her navigator joined her at the hospital, was with her the entire time. She ended up needing surgery and then was hospitalized for a few days post surgery. When it came time for her to be discharged, this is important. The role of our team, the role of her navigator, was to coordinate all of the moving pieces of that. What do I mean by that? I mean, our team is there to plan with you and to plan for you. Her navigator already knew all of the things that she was going to need before she got home. Her navigator ordered some equipment for her, medical equipment. She installed grab bars into her bathroom. She got her a shower chair, a toilet seat riser, and then some other medical equipment as well. She made sure that there were going to be groceries in her house when she got home. But more importantly, she arranged for our Avenues care team to be waiting for this woman when she got home from the hospital. So her navigator picked her up from the hospital, brought her home afterwards, got her settled, introduced her to our Avenues caregiver, and then her navigator was with her for the entire journey of her healing. She was with her even for some of her post-op appointments and her therapy appointments. That's the role of our team. Normally, your kids would be trying to figure things out. You might be trying to figure things out in the chaos of a crisis. That's where your Avenues membership really shines. Our team, we know how to manage all of these things. We know what you need, and our job is to put the plans in motion and to manage all of the different moving parts. That's Avenues. Looks different for every person because every person's aging journey does look so different. We have people who join this program and start using their membership right away for different things. We have other people who use it sporadically throughout the coming years, on and off for different things. It just depends on your aging journey. And the beauty of a program like this is that it's flexible, is that we can be flexible with you for whatever pops up in your health or with aging related needs. This also looks like medical transportation. This one's really important as well. This might be one of the most widely utilized pieces of Avenues. Our Avenues team, our member navigators specifically, take our members to medical appointments or to procedures or surgeries. This is really significant. It's significant for people who still drive because there are things that you just aren't allowed to take yourself to. It's also significant for our members who eventually stop driving, but still need to be able to get to doctor's appointments or to procedures, etc. Our team is providing that as a part of just the Avenues membership. I want to give an example of this that's really timely. We had a couple recently. He actually had a knee replacement surgery scheduled, and they met with, excuse me, my mouth gets dry talking this much. They met with their navigator to kind of plan for this upcoming surgery together. The wife is actually a retired nurse, so she's got a ton of clinical knowledge. She knew what to expect with a knee replacement surgery. But what she said to her navigator or their navigator was, you know, he is 6'3" and I'm 5'4", and I do really worry about getting him in the car after surgery and getting him then into the house and into his chair. I just would really love for our navigator to be with us the day of surgery. It would give me a lot of peace of mind. It would kind of reduce some anxiety. And so their navigator said, yeah, absolutely. Like, this again is why you're an Avenues member. Their navigator picked them up from home, took them to surgery, waited with them the entire time, got him home safely. And then actually they had decided as a team, if you will, that it would be helpful to them to have a caregiver from our team for the first few days after surgery. So that wife wasn't having to take care of him and also managing all of the other components of their day to day. And so our Avenues care team was actually providing some support to them, doing laundry, like housekeeping, running errands, etc. That's the Avenues membership, right? They're not aging to the point that they need a caregiver every day in their home, but they had something unexpected come up where they needed support. And once he had recovered, they said to us, great, we don't need you anymore. We'll call you the next time. That's Avenues. This membership, though, While there are short-term things that pop up for even our younger members, this also is long-term care. This is long-term support for our members who have aged to the point that they do need care every single day. In fact, our oldest Avenues member is 103. If you ask her, she will say, I live independently. And for the most part, she does. She lives independently in her condo in Jenison. And what she won't maybe say to the normal person or to anyone is that our Avenues team is actually there with her every single day for some reason or in some capacity. But her experience and her perception of her own aging journey is that she's independent because she has her own team, her own people that she can call. She gets to call Avenues when she needs something, when she needs support. And I've heard her say this to a few people actually. She'll say, well, I hate the idea of waiting around for my kids' schedules and I hate burdening them and they're busy. And now I don't have to. I've been an Avenues member. She's been in our program actually almost since we opened our program. She loves the independence that this gives to her, knowing that she has her own team of people that she can call. And that I think has empowered a lot of our members to feel independent with aging. Nobody wants to wait around for someone else's schedule, especially your kids, as you're needing more support with things. That's really hard. This gives you autonomy, it gives you freedom, it gives you independence while still having a team of people that is going to be backing you as you're aging and as you start to need support with things. Let's talk a little bit about home maintenance. This is an important part of this program as well. Part of our program we call our home concierge part of Avenues. What that means is if you are aging at home, there will inevitably be a time or come a time where you need assistance with the maintenance of your home setting. Our Avenues members are relying on us for that as well. We have a gal on our team. Her name is Kat Murphy. Her entire job, Monday through Friday, is to take calls from our Avenues members. They are calling her if they need any type of home maintenance done on their house. Her job is to find and vet and schedule and coordinate professionals from West Michigan to come into their homes to provide those services for her. I'll give an example of this. We had someone recently who called in and said, I'm going on a trip. I actually need a cat sitter. Could you find me a cat sitter, Cat? And she said, yeah, absolutely. How much do you want to pay for the cat sitter? And she was able to find a few different options of people that were background checked and vetted and had great reviews. And then together they chose one that was going to be a good fit for her, and she scheduled and coordinated for them to start working together. We've had other members call us when their furnace goes out or when they need snow removal or, fall cleanup in their yard. All of those things our members are calling us for. Now, of course, the maintenance of your house, taking care of your home, or paying for your new roof, that's not part of the Avenues membership. But what is part of the membership and what our hope is really to, again, alleviate our members from having to find professionals for this type of thing. This type of thing is oftentimes something that as you're aging at home, you're asking family or kids or friends to help you with. We want to alleviate that burden so that you don't have to ask your son to come and maintain your lawn. Let us find a professional that will work for you and with you. This is Avenues. Now I'm going to say right now, I could talk for probably 50 more minutes just about everything that's involved in the Avenues membership, but we just don't have time today. And so if Avenues ends up being something that you're curious about, we should get together one-on-one and go a little bit more in depth on what this really does look like and what it could look like in your life and for what you're looking for your aging plan. I want to talk next a little bit about who is joining the Avenues program. This is actually one of our actual members. This is Lynette. She's wonderful. This is her in her kitchen. She's a big bread baker and a big baker in general. Lynette is so unique. I loved working with her. And, for Lynette, excuse me, she is a single gal. She's a widow, and her kids don't live local. They live out of the state. And so as she has been thinking or had been thinking about her aging, she again just had, I think, a lot of unsettledness. She kept thinking about, okay, who is going to do all these things? Who's going to oversee me? My kids don't geographically live here. I can't rely on them, or I'm not going to ask them to be flying home. And also, I don't want to move out of state. My community is here. I don't want to move closer to them. Avenues for her, I think, was a huge um, burden that was lifted off of her because she loves her house, she loves where she lives, and she now has a plan in place for aging. What types of people are joining Avenues? Well, Avenues is a proactive plan. It's a proactive program. It's very different than moving to senior living for a few different reasons, but primarily because the Avenues program is a program that you have to qualify for. You have to qualify to get in to Avenues. Our qualifying criteria is actually up here on the screen. You have to be 55 years of age or older to join the Avenues program. You must be currently living independently. This is important. This is not a program where you wait until you need care and assistance and then you try to join Avenues. That's too late for us. You have to be currently independent or living independently. You must also pass a wellness screening. You have to be in reasonably good health to get into this Avenues program. The reason for that is because once you're joining Avenues, we are paying for all of your future care. So, on the front end, our expectation is that you are independent and in reasonably good health. But then once you're in, no matter what happens, even if you have a health crisis or a change in health status, Avenues is taking care of you and Avenues is paying for your care. People usually have a lot of questions about, well, what does it mean to be in reasonably good health? Well, it means a few different things. We do a 5-year medical look back when we're qualifying people for this program. You don't have to be in perfect health to get into Avenues, but there are some diagnoses that are automatic disqualifiers, and we see some of those pop up from time to time. All other diagnoses, it kind of just depends. It depends on how long have you had the diagnosis for? How stable is it? How consistently do you see your doctor? We also weigh heavily your lifestyle. What does your overall lifestyle look like? Are you active? How do you eat? Are you social? Are you engaged? All of those things are assessed when someone is interested in Avenues and wants to join our program. You also have to have health insurance to get into our program. What your health insurance covers is completely different than what Avenues covers, and vice versa. So you do have to have health insurance to actually be a member in our program. All right, but again, what types of people join this program? I've included some pictures of some of our actual members. People are always curious, well, what age do people join? And what demographic? Where do people live? What do they look like? Well, we have people from all different backgrounds. We have men and women, single men and women. We've got quite a few couples in our program as well. We've got a lot of folks who don't have kids who've joined the Avenues program, but we also have a lot of people who do have kids who either have kids that are local and just feel really strongly like, I know what it looks like to care for someone, and I'm not going to ask my kids to be that for me. Or we have people who have kids that just aren't local. And so they're being really realistic about aging and are feeling like, my kids just aren't here. I realistically need a team. I want experts that I can rely on for my aging. Couples, this is interesting. Sometimes people ask me, well, we're just going to take care of each other. It's not going to be a problem. We won't need anything. To that, I say, well, in theory, sure. Maybe one of you will be able to take care of the other. But then what happens when one person passes before the other? The other is then a solo ager. What will that look like for them? What happens if you both start having health issues? What if one of you starts having memory related issues? Those are all of the complexities that come even with aging with your spouse or trying to be each other's caregivers. It doesn't always work out like you're thinking it's going to work out. There's great benefit in having an Avenues membership, even for couples who are joining the program together. Age demographic. I see people of all ages joining Avenues. You can get into Avenues within any age as long as you're 55 or older. Our sweet spot for Avenues, a lot of times people are joining this program in their late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s, but I've seen people qualify in their 80s as well. realistically, it just becomes a little bit harder to get in the older that you are because health things start to pop up. Independence starts to shift and change and waver. But regardless of your age, if you are still independent and you're reasonably great health or good health, this would be something that you could look into for yourself or would be worth your time. Okay. I've got all types of people in this program. We've got retired pastors and teachers and attorneys and doctors and people from all different professional backgrounds. So we've got some really brilliant people in this program who I think there's a common theme for what types of people are attracted to avenues. A lot of times it's people who are planful, who want independence with aging, but are realistic and know that they need someone to help them age. That's a common theme that I see with a lot of our avenues members. It's people who are planful and are really wanting to have a plan for aging. So, the golden question, of course, always is, well, what does it cost to join the Avenues program, right? How much does this cost? This sounds great and lovely and wonderful. Well, I'm going to show you. The Avenues program is an entrance fee-based model. You pay a one-time entrance fee to join the Avenues program. And then once you join, you also start paying a monthly service fee, which you'll continue to pay as long as you're a member of Avenues. I'm going to show you the range of pricing for our entrance fees and our monthly service fees and let you have a chance to look at it, and then I'm going to explain it. There's a pretty wide range on the screen for our entrance fees. Here's why. Your specific entrance fee is actually based on age. The younger you are when you join Avenues, the less expensive your entrance fee is. And the entrance fees go up in price the older that you are when you join the Avenues program. We also offer discounts when couples join the program together. So there is a couples discount that we offer. We also have two different Avenues plans. This is interesting. I'm going to explain why. When we started Avenues in 2011, we just had one plan. It wasn't even called anything because we only had one. Later down the road, what surprised us is that we have had so many people over the years who have pursued an Avenues membership who already have long-term care insurance. And you might fall into that category. If you're someone who says, oh, well, I don't know if I need Avenues because I already have coverage. I've got a long-term care insurance policy. Well, we added the silver plan as a plan that is somewhat compatible for people who already have long-term care insurance policies. What we have found is that this year alone, 40% of our new Avenues members are people who have long-term care insurance. And what they say to me when I ask them, okay, you've got coverage, but why are you pursuing Avenues? What they say to me is, yeah, I've got coverage, but I have nothing else. I have no team. I with my long-term care insurance coverage, my kids are going to have to figure all of this out, or I'm going to have to hope that I can figure all this out. I'm going to have to hope that I can find my own caregivers and manage those things, manage the clinical side of aging. And so we've been really surprised that people have said, I still want Avenues because what I don't have is the member navigator, and I don't have the team, the transportation, the expertise. I don't have the promise of staying home. So we created or designed that silver plan to be somewhat compatible if you already have long-term care insurance. And if you fall into that boat, I would say let's have a conversation about your specific policy and how that might work with a silver plan later down the road. With that being said, I've seen people with all backgrounds pursue the silver plan membership. I'll explain the difference. The gold plan membership means that Avenues is paying for all of your care, and the silver plan membership means that Avenues is paying for half of your care. You are responsible for paying for the other half of care. But with the silver plan membership, the entrance fee and the monthly service fee are a little bit lower. And so sometimes people say to me, the silver plan just fits better financially for me. Or sometimes people say, I'm really blessed They have a lot of assets and resources. I don't need the financial coverage of Avenues. And so they might choose to pursue that Silver Plan membership instead, because what they're most attracted to is the team that comes with this membership and the aging in place that comes with this membership. This is usually when I'm in person with people and presenting, we always put numbers on the slides. This is always overwhelming to see, right? You're seeing a pretty significant number that you would be paying for something. This, of course, would be your aging plan. This is going to be your financial coverage for aging, but this is going to be your long-term plan. And let's revisit actually in talking about this. Let's revisit these numbers we looked at earlier, right? This is what it looks like to pay out of pocket for aging related care today in 2026. It's $150,000 for 1 year of care for one person. The interesting thing about that, of course, is that those numbers go up every year. But when we're talking about the Avenues membership, this is what your membership is paying for you. That's part of being a member with this program. I mentioned this earlier, but I'll say it again. The care that woman received, I shared about Maureen, who had care that came to her home afterwards after she broke her femur. That was all paid for by Avenues. She didn't get a care bill afterwards or an unexpected cost that popped up. That was her membership. Or the gentleman I talked about earlier, our only Avenues member who has moved from his home, who moved to skilled nursing. His bill is $14,000 every month. Avenues pays that. For as long as he is a member in this program, he will be covered by the Avenues membership. That's what this is. This is a plan for our members. It's a plan financially, but it's an aging plan. It's a way for you to say, I have something in mind for aging. I know what I want it to look like. I know where I want to age, and I want to be in the driver's seat of that. This Avenues program is designed to give you the freedom for that. All right, we're coming to a close here today. I love this picture. This is another couple that's in our program. And I say this to people all the time. It's kind of cheesy. Hope is not a plan. I hear so many people say to me, well, I don't want to think about aging. I don't want to talk about aging. I'm young, I'm independent. I don't need to talk about it today. I'm kind of just hoping that things will work out. And what I would urge you, what I challenge everyone here today is it is worth thinking about. It's worth thinking about, and here's why. Because nobody's dreaming of moving to a nursing home. Nobody's dreaming of moving to assisted living. You don't have to move to those settings. There are alternatives. But a big part of those alternatives is having a plan in place, making decisions before you're in a crisis or before your family has to make decisions for you and you don't get to decide anymore. I say this because this couple on the screen, this is Denny and Sue. They're so fun. They joined our program a number of years ago. What they said in retirement was, we wanted to get all of our big decisions out of the way early in retirement. We wanted to decide on things like pre-funeral planning and finances and our will and our patient advocate. And for them, they said, we want to get this aging decision out of the way. For them, Avenues was a fit for that. They decided on Avenues, and then they said, now we get to enjoy the rest of our retirement. We're going to travel. We're going to enjoy time with our kids and grandkids. And we have this beautiful peace of mind of knowing that if and when we need something, we have Avenues. We've got our member navigator. We've got a relationship with her. She's a phone call away. She knows us and we know her, and she's there for us. That's Avenues. We're going to close today with a short Avenues video, actually. We had a short documentary made on the Avenues program, and we interview actually 3 of our Avenues members. So we're going to close in watching that video, and then I'm going to take an opportunity to take questions at the end. So let's watch this together.
I don't think that anyone ever wakes up and says, my dream is to move to a nursing home. In fact, people tell us the opposite. People are saying to us, my dream is to age in my home, surrounded by my neighbors and my friends and my family in a place that feels familiar. Avenues is that plan.
we realized that there weren't a lot of options for people to age in place at home. We were the 13th program in the nation that started this continuing care at home program.
For me, aging is being out here in the dirt. Garlic, that's one of my favorites, and I do potatoes. And so I wanted to be in my home and in my yard, most importantly.
About 38 years ago, we built a home that is so perfect for us. We are addicted to hikes in the woods nearby, and we both enjoy travel.
We've gone to the Galapagos, Alaska, Egypt. When one of us do need assistance maintaining our life, Avenues will assist with that.
It's hard to age, and if we can alleviate some of that concern and create a safety net for people, that's my passion.
We are backed by an entire organization, and our expertise is aging. And so we know how to help you age at home successfully and how really to help your aging vision become a reality.
When someone joins Avenues, they are assigned to their own member navigator. That's your point person.
I felt an immediate click with my navigator. I mean, I feel comfortable, talking to her about anything or everything. I feel like she's a friend.
Our member navigator has been the go-to person forever, for the decade.
They will respond and work with me for whatever the issue is, so that you're not alone.
Avenues in so many ways is a proactive approach to aging. We have no idea how much care individually we each will need. When you join this program, your Avenues membership is going to be paying for all of your future care, no matter how much care that is.
What happens when you get to the point where you need help? We'll worry about it then. Well, I think that's too late.
Avenues, I think, for me means just peace of mind. It's reduced my anxiety about things.
Avenues gives me comfort and confidence about my future.
There is somebody looking over me as I age, watching out for me.
Aging doesn't come with a manual on how to do it. You need a team of people around you. Avenues would like to be your team.
All right. I'm coming to a close here today. I've seen this video, so many times, of course. And what I think is so remarkable about it is to hear from our actual Avenues members. I always tell people I could sit up here and talk for hours and hours about how much I love the Avenues program and think that it is remarkable and inventive and creative to be able to do this with people so successfully. But what's really impactful is to talk with people who are Avenues members. And we have so many Avenues members. If you're ever curious and want to meet some people in this program, that's something that we can arrange for you. The people in this program are great resources. We've got people now who've been Avenues members for over a decade. And what's interesting actually is we have been having a number now of children of Avenues members who are now looking at the program for themselves and thinking about Avenues for them, which is really fun for us. We're having some multi-generational families. So I want to leave time for us. We've got 5 minutes here or so. I want to leave enough time for people to ask questions if they have them. But let me also take a moment to say that anytime someone comes to one of these events, I usually call you afterwards privately to see if you have questions that you didn't feel comfortable asking out loud. So you can expect to hear from me via phone. But what questions might we have still about the program today? Anyone? Questions are always the best part because even if someone's too embarrassed to ask a question, maybe someone else will ask it for you. Louise.
Yes, can you share some of the disqualifying diagnoses that you mentioned?
Yeah, sure. Some of the big ones that come up, Louise, are if someone has a dementia diagnosis. So if someone's already showing signs of memory loss or has a dementia diagnosis, that's going to be a really hard one for us to qualify. Another hard one would be Parkinson's is very difficult to qualify. Um, if someone had a terminal illness, that's going to be very difficult to qualify, or if someone was in kidney failure or heart failure. Everything else just depends. Um, so if you have questions about a certain diagnosis that you have, I would say let's talk privately about that and we can explore that together. I've seen people, this is kind of interesting. I've seen people with the same diagnosis apply for the program. I had a lady and a gentleman, unrelated, both apply for Avenues, had the same diabetes diagnosis. She was approved because of her lifestyle. She managed her diabetes super well. She was active. She, you know, took her doctor's recommendations. It was an overall good picture of health. She was approved for Avenues. There was a gentleman, same year applied, same diagnosis, same type of diabetes. He sat on a couch every day. He didn't manage his diabetes well. He never saw his doctor. He was a bigger concern for us as a program because he was a lot higher risk. So it kind of just depends on a lot of factors. It's a
Okay,
great
thank you.
question. Yeah. I like your nickname, Punky. That
Yes.
last name is familiar to me, but maybe it's just West Michigan.
No, it, it it's our my mother-in-law was an original Avenues member.
I wonder,
Mhm.
Louise.
Mhm.
Yes, I know. Yes, I did not know your mom personally, but she was one of our original members.
Yes. Mhm.
Wow. Oh, I'm so glad that you joined us today. That's so delightful. Thank you for
Yeah.
being here.
I chuckled when you said you're turning into a multi-generational program.
Yeah. Do you have any insight that you want to share about, did you have much experience with our Avenues team through your mother-in-law?
I would, my husband, her son is here too. Well, Paige was her contact person. The structure was quite different when it started and was wonderful. And actually, Paige was with her when she died. So,
Yeah, I knew
mhm.
that actually. Paige still talks about your mother-in-law quite a
Yes,
bit
she's,
because
yeah,
she was just such a, I mean, we cherish all the people that are in
mm,
this program, but she was really special, is my
yes,
understanding. I'm sad to have not
yes.
met her.
She made an impact on anybody she met. That's true.
I have heard that. That is so great. I'm so glad you joined us today. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah. What other questions do we have today? And feel free to type them in the chat as well if that's more comfortable. Man, I must have done a really good job today. No questions. Here's the thing is when you sign off today, you will undoubtedly, oh, Elizabeth has a question. Great. Do you have a question, Elizabeth? You might have to go off mute if you have a question.
Can you
There
hear
we
me?
go. I can.
Okay. Um, I'm wondering, as an example, uh, we join Avenues. Um, we're members for a number of years, 5, 10 years, whatever. We're at home, everything's going well. And then one of us has a significant diagnosis, a dementia or some physical disability where the other person is no longer able to help
Yeah.
sufficiently. What happens in a case like that? Uh,
Well, yeah,
uh, can we move like the gentleman that you mentioned and that's covered? Is what happens? What
that's
would
a
the
great
program?
question, Elizabeth. And we have encountered this with many different couples in our programs. We've had a number of people who have been later diagnosed with dementia who are in the program as a couple. It kind of just depends. Part of this is the flexibility of the Avenues membership, but let me give some examples of how we've navigated this with other couples. Sometimes it's that the couple is really dedicated to wanting to stay in their home. Well, we can bring care into the home, even if it's, let's say you are still in great health, but your spouse has dementia and is needing care. Maybe you're providing some of that to him, but maybe you get to the point where you say to our team, I need some support. His care needs are becoming too much. Well, then our caregiving team would start coming to your home to provide support, to alleviate you, and to ensure that he has everything that he needs. So that's one option. We also have had a number of couples over the years who have decided later on, I think I'm kind of curious about moving to independent living in a community. You have total flexibility to do that as an Avenues member. When I say that all of our members have stayed home, what I mean, I guess, is that they've stayed independent. They've stayed independently in an independent living setting. We've only had one person who's moved to a facility-based setting, but we actually have had a number of couples who have moved to independent living within a senior living community. And the Avenues membership follows them wherever they go. So that couple is now aging in place in independent living of their choosing, and we are still paying for their care and providing all the services and amenities that you would even if you lived out in your home in the community. So it kind of just depends. It depends on what you want and what life looks like or what things come up as you're aging, which is kind of nice that there is a lot of flexibility in this membership.
Which portions of that are covered and
Mhm.
which become our responsibility? And are the prices you put up on the screen per person or per couple?
They're per person, so you each would pay an individual entrance fee and you each would pay a monthly service fee. What Avenues is paying for is your care, Elizabeth. So, care in your home setting or care in a facility based setting like assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing. If you decided to move to independent living, that's a little different. Excuse me. Avenues would not pay for your independent living lifestyle. So we're not going to pay for like the mortgage on your home where you currently live. We wouldn't pay for you to live in independent living in a senior living community, but we'd be paying for your care once you need it. There's a lot to that. If you're familiar with senior living, there's so many different communities that have different pricing and different structures. So if you want to talk a little bit more in depth about those specifics, let's do that sometime because it's complex. It really is. Did I answer your question for the most part?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Wonderful. Any other questions today? Well, we'll close with this in mind. So expect to hear from me. I'm sure that when you log off today, you're going to have 10 new questions that come up. Most people, if you're interested in learning more, you want to talk more in depth about this program because there is so much to it. Most people do want to set up a time to talk individually. I usually come to people's homes to meet with them because we're a home-based program. And if that's something that you're interested, then I'd be delighted to do that with you. We would look at your specific pricing at that time and talk about your specific situation and how Avenues would fit into your lifestyle. So we're going to come to a close today. Thank you all so much for joining us and taking the time to learn about the Avenues program. And I look forward to connecting with all of you individually in the future. So thanks so much.